not a game, it's a rich thing.
Hey y'all, this is Tasha. I am back with another review of Married at First Sight. Thank you so much for stopping into my channel. If you guys are not already, please hit the subscribe button below. Drop down in the comments section. Let's chat it up. I'm going to apologize about my voice ahead of time. It's a mix between allergies. Took the puppy to the groomers for the first time today, and I think there was some dog there that, flared up the allergies. So here I am getting my Toni Braxton voice on for tonight. Okay, so enjoy. Before I jump into the review, I just have to say, I just caught like the first 30 seconds of the after party. And I'm so excited to see that Nate has cut his hair. I don't ever watch the after party because y'all, after 2 hours of Married at First Sight, I just cannot. I cannot. But I was like, thank God Nate has let the braids go, child. Because I even made a comment about the braids in my notes for the episode tonight. So when I saw that, I said, look at God. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Yes, he will. Okay. So let's jump into the episode from tonight. I'm going to be completely transparent with y'all. The last half of this show tonight, to me, was completely boring. Like, the show could have been 1 hour tonight, or we could have just, fast forward a few days further into the marriage and closest to decision day, because the last hour was giving like nothing. Nothing. Or maybe it was just me. Y'all let me know in the comments down below, okay? So the episode starts with 24 days until decision day. So we are back at the couples dinner. So where we left off last week, Justin is sitting here thinking he did nothing wrong. Alexis walks outside and he asks how she's feeling. She's like, I just don't know how we got here. He says her body language looked like she was completely shut down and she was just sitting there with nothing to say. That kind of threw him a curveball. So that's why he kind of asked her how she was feeling. She says basically the way he approached her really didn't show care and concern for how she was doing and checking on her, but better yet, just trying to tell the group how they were doing. And I can agree, because he could have just let it go when she didn't make a big fuss of it at the table. He could have just let it go and approached it with her once they got home. I could see if she acted as if she had an attitude. She was mad at him. She ruined the dinner for everybody. Like, I can just see if something like that had happened, but that wasn't her behavior at the table. So Justine should have just let it ride, okay? She says she doesn't want it to be a big thing. He says it's not a big thing. They're both pretty passive about it. They hug as if it's all good. And I guess we're just going to move on and keep calling each other baby as they do, although they're clearly upset with one another. So we then see all the ladies get together and all the guys get together. And when I saw this, I immediately yelled at my TV. I am sick of these get-togethers. Like, I can't even recall the first season that this became a thing, of the couples being together and then the girls and the guys being together. But this season, in my opinion, has been complete overkill with the couples being together and the girls and the guys getting together. I don't mind, like, one maybe, midway through get together, and then one maybe as they're about to wrap up and do a little retreat or something. I think that's enough. But to have all these people constantly get together talking, it is just stirring up the drama. And quite frankly, nobody really asks for the drama of this show. They just present all the drama to us as if we truly want to see all these marriages fail every single season. Like, that's not why we watch the show. I really would like to see, some couples actually make it past saying yes on decision day and then not being together anymore. Like, Mavs, like, anyway, y'all. So we see Morgan updates the ladies on what's going on. We know she's already talked to Alexis, so really the other ladies. She tells them that Ben has been lying. Ben is over there telling the guys he's been talking to Justin behind her back and lying to her face. And he's like, when we talk and I'm trying to, talk to her and she's kind of coming at me, I'm really never able to get a word in edgewise. So he's like, I just kind of become a ticking time bomb, which is why he just needed to vent and release to someone else, which is understandable. Mitch tells him that it's completely normal to want to talk to your friends about what you're going through, and that sounds like a Morgan problem. And I don't agree with Mitch. The fact that the only place that Ben went wrong, in my opinion, is by telling Morgan that he was not discussing it with anybody else. Like, he should have just been honest in saying that he's been having these conversations with Justin, or better yet, had these conversations with some other friend that you've known a lot longer than Justin. But really, that's the only place where he went wrong. But I don't think that Ben was wrong to want to vent or talk to somebody about everything he is going through. It happens all the time in relationships. People have a good girlfriend, guy friend, parent, sister, cousin, somebody that they can go to really release and let them know what's going on and get some ideas on, how they can overcome whatever this is. So, Morgan, if you think that you're going to have a marriage where your spouse never confides in anyone else, girl, you don't need to be married, and you got another thing coming. Like, you getting on my nerves. And either way with this, I can't really tell if Morgan is mad that he lied, Morgan is mad that he actually talked to Justin, or if it's both, because I'm just not 100% clear on where so much of the anger has come from. She's lays it heavy on the lying part, but then it's also because I've asked him not to talk to nobody. Girl, you might need to talk to somebody. That's why you so uptight. Make it make sense. So she continues to talk to the lady. She's still on 1,000. She says, she's been says it's been all on Ben, trying to save face, and he really needed to talk to her if he needed somebody to talk to. And I was like, Morgan, no, you didn't create no type of safe space for this man to feel like he could talk to you. And even when he could talk to you, you would just over talk him. So don't act as if, oh, it's just so simple, just come and talk to me if that's the issue. You are not approachable in that way for this man to come talk to you about this. Stop trying to save face for the girls, okay? So wait, where I'm at. So she tells them that they have separated, and he's pretty much been on silent since then. And I can't blame Ben. It's like, you threaten this man to make his life a living hell pretty much for the remainder of the experiment. You act like you don't want to be with him. So why should he put in the energy to fight to have you there? Ben shares that they're going to have a convo with Dr. Pepper. Morgan continues to talk to the girls. She takes absolutely no accountability and is totally in the victim box of, it's all being done to me and I've done nothing, absolutely nothing to deserve this. I've just been like a Disney princess this whole time, just waiting, being a damsel in distress for my Prince Charming to come save me. Morgan, get out my face. So Ben says basically he was freaking out in the beginning. When they started going through all this, he started breaking out. He started losing weight. Like, he said he was really going through it. And then we see, as he's having this moment with the guys, the ladies bust into the apartment. And I'm just like, y'all just do anything that production tells y'all to do. Y'all just like, bet, do that makes sense, let's go start the drama. Because that's all I can think of the point of y'all actually being like, yes, this is a great idea, let's go do this. So Miguel asks Morgan, basically, what's her breaking point? She talks about him breaking her trust on the honeymoon for the 1,000th time. And then to find out he's been lying after he said he didn't like lies. Again, she's like, he could have come to me. No, he couldn't have, Morgan. Can you please stop saying that? You would have blown the hell up on this man. So stop it. She says that it's been the lack of accountability for Ben. Ben agrees, and I'm like, so where's the lack of accountability for Morgan? Because it's the same. Nate asks her what's up with her hostility, because he's basically saying all he does is see Morgan pissed off all the time, and he's like, Ben seems to be cool, calm, and collected every time, and his behavior really has not wavered, and basically everything that Ben does is wrong. And I was like, here Nate go again, trying to make me like him. So Nate tells her that it's subjective to say that he's doing things to her when they are having an abnormal experience with getting married at first sight. And she's like, I just needed him to have my back, and he didn't. Have your back for what, Morgan? You act like there was a bunch of people after you and attacking you, and Ben went and became BFFs with these people and didn't have your back. Like, have your back for what? What happened that he needs to have your back so bad right now? Y'all, Morgan gets on my nerves. I just think she puts off this energy, and I hate to say it, but she puts off this masculine energy. She puts off this energy like she is uber independent. And while nothing is absolutely wrong with that, you can't then act meek and feeble and act like you just need somebody to just be all in your corner. Like, which one is it, girl? Which one is it? Pick a struggle and stick with it, because it's confusing me. And if it's confusing me, I'm sure it's confusing Ben, okay? Ben says through this experience, he's realized he has had past trauma he has not healed from. He really thought it would be easy to deal with a strong woman and someone different from a different culture than he is. And he's basically saying he was not 100% correct in that thinking. He tells her that he has signed up for therapy and that he is still willing to try. And again, y'all, I don't like Morgan. Absolutely don't. But even in this moment, Ben is throwing me off a little bit too. This like real soft, feeble voice. And I signed up for therapy, and I'm willing to try of feeling like I'm doing everything that I can. And if she still doesn't like me, then there's nothing else that I can do, because I've tried to do everything to make her happy. Something about it, y'all, I ain't buying from Ben. And Ben hasn't necessarily shown me anything different in his behavior. Like, he's been consistent for the most part, but it's just something about it that ain't sitting right with my spirit, that he all the way telling the truth in this type of person that he is telling us he is. Like, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I was definitely side-eyeing Ben a whole lot as he was using this little soft voice. Now, 22 days until decision day, finally, Dr. Pepper has decided to show her ass on our TV screen. Since she went and scouted out these people? Dr. Pepper, come on. You know we don't like Pastor Cal like that. So, of course, now that all hell is broken loose, let's let Dr. Pepper come in and try to save the day. So up first is Morgan and Ben for Dr. Pepper to have a visit. Morgan is saying she wants this to work out because, I so badly wanted to be married and have a husband. Girl, no, you don't. No, you don't. Dr. Pepper tells them that she's been kept up to date on everything, and she really hopes that they can begin to show some compassion and forgiveness to each other. Ben says he didn't think he had any expectations, but he says kind of deep down inside he did, and he was being judgmental and insensitive, and then admitted to talking to Justin behind her back and really just owned up to his mistakes. I can 100% respect Ben for really recognizing all of this and coming back kind of full circle to realize where he really messed up and where he has his personal flaws. Dr. Pepper says that he really excluded her from discussions and took it elsewhere, which is him going to Justin. Morgan says she's really looked back and wondered if she could have done things differently to make it more welcoming for her to talk to him, and basically says this is what he did with his clean slate. We had the whole issue on the honeymoon, and then we got back, gave him a clean slate. He was working on building my trust again, and he was working and he was getting it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, but Morgan, did you really give him a clean slate? Because Every opportunity you had, we had to bring up the big blow up of the honeymoon. I really never saw a finite conclusion to that issue to then move on to something else before you was then now pissed at him talking to Justin. Like, girl, this man did not ever have a clean slate with you. Since this man had the vid, he has never had a clean slate with you. Okay. But before Dr. Pepper leaves, we have to talk about this whole childhood letter to themselves. I'm so sick of them doing this every single season because it's like everybody's all emotional and all into it as they're reading it and they're in the moment. And then 2.5 seconds later, everything is back to normal and we haven't learned anything. So when it comes to that part of the episode, y'all just be ready that I don't really have no notes, okay? No notes. But anyway, before we move on past them, I want to say how upset I was that Dr. Pepper really did not address Morgan, or if she addressed her, production cut it out so that we can continue to create whatever narrative this is that they want us to see between Morgan and Ben. But I'm like, Dr. Pepper, you didn't think you needed to get in Morgan's behind about how she behaved, especially how she behaved last week with throwing down these flowers and letting him know that you're going to be with me every day so you can see how much you've hurt. You didn't think that was important to address, Dr. Pepper? Stop playing in our face, okay? So next, Dr. Pepper goes to see Stasha and Nate. And I told y'all early in the episode, I don't know why it was something about this scene where I was like, Nate, let these braids go. I would cut these braids in the middle of the night while you sleeping, so you had no choice but to cut your hair, because these braids was the worst hair decision you could have ever made in life. Okay, but now they're gone, so I'm happy. So Stasha tells Dr. Pepper that she struggled with moving quickly in their relationship. Of course, we saw that because 30 days in, you was like, well, why don't you love me? Why am I only a 4 out of 10? You don't love me? Are you sure you don't love me? Well, how about now? It's been 10 minutes. How about now? 15 minutes now? Have I moved up to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Do you love me? On our nerves. Dr. Pepper tells her that she did not marry herself, and she acts like she's shocked by this revelation. Girl, I know y'all might look alike, but you did not marry yourself, okay? And she tells her that if she wants a man to really love her that same way that she does, she's going to be disappointed. 1,000% agree, okay? She tells Stasha that Nate really hasn't been in an environment with women, so this is new for him because we know he didn't grow up with his mom. And then, y'all, I know I'm being petty, but the camera pans down and I could kind of see their full outfit. I said, not these two trying to dress alike with having denim on top and these white ripped jeans. It is something about them that they so badly want to look the part of a happily married couple instead of focusing on being a happily married couple, and that gets on my nerves. So Dr. Pepper tells them both to hold hands when they're having difficult conversations. She's like, oh, my mom said the same thing, but you wasn't trying to hear nothing your mom said the other week, okay? She says that, y'all are a team. You need to address things as such. She asks about their physical intimacy. Nate confirms they have consummated the marriage. We already knew that. Y'all probably did that on the honeymoon and was playing us all this time. Stasha says that does make her feel more secure about the marriage. Stasha, anything makes you feel more secure about the marriage. Moving from a 4 to a 7 to an 8 makes you feel more secure. Getting the tattoo makes you feel more secure. Now that y'all consummated the marriage, that makes you feel more secure. Whatever, Sasha. Whatever. So next up is Kristen and Mitch, and she asks how they have managed the friction. Kristen says things started rocky about really him telling her that, he wasn't really feeling her like that. And she says she tried to overcompensate so he wouldn't feel that way. And as she's talking, she then begins to get emotional. She tells Dr. Pepper she lost a little bit of herself in trying to make him happy, and she doesn't want to do that anymore. She always feels like she's constantly walking on eggshells. So Dr. Pepper asks what would it take from him, and she says, if he still felt this way, the same way he did day 2 of the honeymoon is really what she needs to know. The fact that he wished he had a different wife, and she really needs to know if he could fall in love with her. Okay, Kristen. So Dr. Pepper then basically says that kind of what she's asking for, as far as saying that she needs to know he could fall in love with her, is more of a demand, and dealing with a man that does not do well being told what to do. She thinks that would not serve him well. And Kristen says, well, then he shouldn't have got married. And to an extent, I do agree, because there are going to be times in your marriage where somebody just going to have to make a decision to put their foot down, and it is what it is. So, child, if Mitch, had this whole fit with the shirt, I don't know what's going to happen when they start talking about, birthing plans, what school the kid's going to go to, a job promotion, moving. Y'all going to be in a world of trouble, okay? So Dr. Pepper asks Mitch if he admires her and if he feels affection towards her. And he says yes. And Dr. Pepper asks if he has told her. He has to sit there and think about it, and we all know the answer is no. So he tells her how grateful he is for her, how he admires her, how she's really courageous. And basically, he was doing a lot to try to protect himself, but he really admires her because she's been so brave throughout this entire situation. So Dr. Pepper tells him that he can get a little bit self-righteous when he feels cornered. Again, Shirtgate 2022, we saw that. He says he could love her the way she needs, and that makes her happy. And I'm just thinking, Kristen, if you think Mitch is going to change for the long term at the age of 41, 43, however old Mitch is. Okay. Alexis and Justin is up next with Dr. Pepper, and Dr. Pepper looks like a little Oompa Loompa. Next to Alexis and Justin. Good Lord, she is short next to Justin. So she asks what's happening. The tears begin to flow almost immediately from Justin. So now we finally get the Maya update. And they say that they got a call from the trainer letting them know that Maya has been inconsistent with the training. And the trainer said it is best to just not pick her up and she will just stay on the farm. I said, say what now? So you think a trainer gonna call me of a dog that I've had 7 years and let me know that my dog has been inconsistent in training and it's best not to come get her? And you think I'm not gonna go get my dog? Something about that whole story sounded a little bit fishy, y'all. I don't know what the truth was, but I don't think that was it, okay? So Justin is teary-eyed, but obviously he's okay with the decision. I'm like, well, what kind of dog dad are you, Justin, that you just like, I think I know that's what's best for her, so she can just stay. You've had this dog 7 years. You've known Alexis for 32 days or something like that at this point. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Justin? Anyway, so Alexis says she forgave him from the incident from the dinner the other night because she just really wanted to move on. Justin said because he felt alone, it made him realize how she may feel during those times as well. He says that she is sensitive. She says she isn't because she equates that to vulnerability. And because of how she grew up with never seeing her mom cry, that's just not a space she likes to live in. And I'm like, what? You never saw your mom cry growing up? Parents, you don't realize kind of how much damage that does to your kids as far as, maybe making them feel they can't show their emotion, or them thinking that you're some type of super strong superhero, that you don't have these same emotions that they have. Like, cut it out. She then says that basically tears are a sign of weakness because that's how she grew up and that's kind of what's been ingrained in her head. Dr. Pepper says she really has to basically let someone in. If she wants to be married, she has to realize that, it's okay to have feelings and it's okay to act and feel on those feelings. And Alexis is like, I'm working on it. No, you're not. 21 days until decision day, the couples return basically all to their childhood homes. They encourage everyone to write a letter to their younger self to provide valuable information about who they are in the present. Kristen and Mitch go play softball, and child, we see Kristen in these purple latex type pants. Kristen, a little bit of squats, a little bit of weights. It won't hurt nobody. It'll give you some nice little curves, okay? But she says she brought him here because, you know, she was into sports as a kid. Mitch is struggling. He can't even catch the ball. Kristen shares that her parents were really hard on her while she played sports, and with her grades as well. She really had no room for error. So she says, you know, once her parents told her it was time for her to then get a job, she got a job, and then she couldn't do the job and do softball. So she had to let softball go and just do the job. And she said she really regrets it and wished that she had more time to be a child. Mitch said that him as a child he had a large margin of error, so the complete opposite that she grew up in, and he didn't have a lot of structure. Makes a lot of sense of why you're such a brat, Mitch. Like, we didn't need you to tell us that to realize that's how you grew up. So next up, we see Lindy and Miguel. They go, they actually have a visit from Dr. Pepper. Lindy is acting like a child already. They start in Hoseing right out the gate, saying that marriage is going well. Dr. Pepper says she really wants to challenge them to go deeper. Lindy says she is still learning to really not be defensive. And she says that, you know, it isn't a huge thing. She talks about some incident where she was making breakfast. He wanted her to cook the onions a little bit longer before she added something to the pot. And she was just like, you know, I'm just not the greatest cook, so I'm not confident in that area. So then to, you know, kind of get some feedback, I was just defensive. I said, no, tell her about when you was defensive and showing your ass about this whole last name health insurance debacle. How about tell Dr. Pepper that? And Dr. Pepper, why didn't you bring it up? Because you said you see and you hear everything. Why didn't you call her on the carpet for it? Dr. Pepper, I'm kind of disappointed in you this episode, girl. I am kind of disappointed in you. She asks if they've said I love you to each other. They say, you know, no. And again, I think this meeting with Dr. Pepper for them was pointless. Justin then takes Alexis to a park where he spent a lot of time as a kid. He tells her how his brother raised him. They were both teenagers. I think he was 18, 19. Justin was 13 years old. Just trying to really help out each other, figure things out. They had really no real guidance, which Justin is explaining why he shuts down and really doesn't ask for help. They fly a kite in the park because he said he flew these kites a lot as a kid. And Alexis was like, so we flying kites? That's my man and I'm going to stick beside him, girl. I guess we flying kites. So then we head back over to Kristen and Mitch. He has a bunch of pictures from his mom, from his childhood. He hopes this really gives her a deeper insight into who he is. He says he really started becoming more rebellious after his mom and dad got a divorce, and he really didn't have much structure and discipline, and he probably started rejecting a lot of help as he started to grow up. She says getting to know his childhood has created a soft spot for her. Okay, so that means we'll just forget everything. Everything else is a wash. Okay. So back over to Stasha and Nate. She reads a letter to her younger self. He reads a letter to his childhood self. And I kind of took a quick nap during this segment. It was boring. Sorry. 20 days until decision day. We have yet again another, you know, Married at First Sight tradition, a dance class with Lindy and Miguel this time. Yay! Not really. She says she has never seen her parents drink, I think dance, have pork, eat seafood, etc. Girl. So she reads a letter to her younger self. Again, another boring scene. We then see Kristen and Mitch go to Mitch's father's gravesite. Not much to that scene either. Nate takes Stasha to the home he grew up in mostly once he moved to the West Coast. She says, you know, she asks him what's one memory he can recall, and he says that his dad allowed him to play with other kids and wasn't really that strict. And I was like, and that's your fondest memory? That? All right. So then Nate's dad walks up and I'm like, wow, this is a first for the parent to kind of meet them, you know, in that childhood space. So Stasha asks basically how his dad did it as a single dad. Dad gets a little bit emotional. Stasha starts to cry and is using Nate's shirt as a piece of tissue. Why? I don't know. And Nate says basically showing emotion isn't a regular thing. So it's really odd to see his dad cry because that's kind of a sign of weakness. So Ben writes a letter to his younger self. He's hoping to really win back Morgan. We all know that ain't happening. She comes in. She is completely cold as ice the minute she walks in the door. She doesn't even look like she's open to wanting to hear anything this man has to say. He shares, and then she says that when it's time to read her letter, that she doesn't feel comfortable sharing with him because every time she's told him something, he's told somebody else. That's how I feel about Morgan. You getting on my nerves. I was like, you wanted him to show up every day so that he could see how he hurt you. And that's exactly what you're doing. Because that's the only reason why you came here, to say that and then still to get up and leave once again. I would have preferred you didn't even show up. Like, why? 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 It's 19 days until decision day. So Alexis brings Justin to the basketball court. They play a little one-on-one. Then she shows him some scrapbooks. She says that basketball showed her that hard work will overcome anything. She reads a letter. Wasn't necessarily a letter to her younger self, but really reflecting back on her hyper independence that she has now identified she has. And she says if she could tell her childhood self anything, it was that she could be soft and strong at the same time. So Miguel takes Lindsay to this place called House of Puerto Rico, which is like a little building that has all this stuff about Puerto Rico. And he was able to give her a little bit of the history. He tells her that he got picked on when he was in New York for his appearance, basically not being white enough. When he got to Puerto Rico, he got picked on because he was not Puerto Rican enough. So pretty much just always the odd man out, which sounded very similar to Nate's story that he gave us. So is that really a coincidence, or y'all just like, this is what we all gonna say and because this sound good? He reads his letter to her and then tells her that he loves her at the end. She says she loves him too. And I said, at this point, they are Joseing harder than Jose ever did. What? Now y'all love each other? So Stasha shows Nate where she grew up and says that she used to make purses to sell at school. I said, you making and selling purses at school, Nate selling, knockoff Louis Vuitton bags. I guess y'all just a match made in heaven. Of course, they think this makes them both hustlers and it's just power couple moves. Okay. So she takes him to one of her friends' house. It's the person that she spent the last year of high school with when her parents moved and she didn't want to move. Nate asks the father how she was in high school. Dad tells a story about some boy showing up, blowing the horn, him saying, you can't just honk the horn. You got to come in here and get her. This guy was pretty much the father figure in her life. Again, another pointless scene. Lastly, we see Mitch and Kristen share their letters of their younger self. And I don't care. But what I did care about is how dirty and crusty Mitch's feet look. Like, it was above the I walked on the sand. It was like dirty. What's up with that, Mitch? What's up with that? Anyway, he gets emotional as he's reading his letter. Kristen loves seeing this side of him, as she says she was still harboring some anger on how they started. And now she says she's really let that go. She's happy and their marriage is incredible. It's incredible, guys. I don't know what marriage she's in, but it's not this one. It's not this one. Anyway, that was how the episode ended, y'all. I feel like with these couples, it's basically two extremes. Everybody completely overlooks everything, even the red flags that are blamed right in front of their face, or they harbor on to every single minute detail. Like, having an in-between with some of these people just don't exist, and it just makes it for a really hard watch. But it looks like for next week, Dr. Pia, I believe that's who it is, the new expert, looks like she is back. So hopefully she brings a little bit of realness to the couple in these shows, and we actually get, some hard-hitting questions and fact-checking and self-realization going on with some of these couples, because we really do need that. And Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal just ain't giving it to us at this point. Okay. Y'all, thank you so much for watching. Again, drop down in the comment section below. Let's chat it up, and I'll catch y'all next week. Peace.